Well, good Monday morning and welcome inside the Nebraska Soybean Board Studio. We're kicking off a new video program today that we're calling Monday Morning Markets. Each week we'll be joined by Jeff Peterson of Heartland Farm Partners to discuss the overall market direction and give you an idea of what to look for the week ahead's trade. Jeff, in addition to your role at Heartland Farm Partners, you're also an assistant professor of practice at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. I like to tell people you have the heart of a teacher, so I appreciate you joining us today.
You bet. I always enjoy having a chance to talk to you about the markets, Bryce.
Well, speaking of those markets, it's been interesting lately. Corn is above $4, soybeans above $10. There's some optimism out there as people are picking corn and soybeans across Nebraska. But what do you see in terms of the market support and what's been the underlying help to get these markets above those levels where people are maybe a little bit more comfortable?
I know it's really such a big change since where we'd have been back in the middle of August. And a lot of that came because of the funds. The funds have stepped in, and going all the way back to the middle of August, they've bought up over 3 billion bushels of grain. And why they've done that is because the crop got smaller, and then all of a sudden we started seeing much more demand step in. And much of that demand came from China, so that's really been a nice boost in the arm to get this market going.
One of the things I want to do in this program with you, Jeff, is talk about some of the terms that commodity traders use so frequently and help our viewers understand what that means. So one of them we want to break down today is marketing year. We're in a fresh marketing year, and people are talking about how much volume is being traded in terms of the market year. When does the market year start, and what does that mean? What do you keep an eye on?
Yeah, exactly. So first thing that always gets a little confusing is, what is that marketing year? And as we talk about the 2020 crop year and marketing year are interchangeable. And when we talk about that for corn and soybeans, that starts on September 1st of 2020 and runs around to August 31st of 2021. And so that's what sets up that year. Initially, when you come into it, you're always looking at what do we think the production is going to be. So we're watching weather and we're watching yields to see what that is. And now when we get to this time of year, then we start getting a transition where we're finishing up the focus on the yield. Now there's still some stuff to go ahead and watch on the production side because not all the crop is harvested yet, but then we get more attention coming back in on the demand side. And the demand side, which has been really kind of pulling us up here lately.
One of the things people have kept a close eye on, and for good reason, is the Phase 1 trade deal with China. What is your team tracking in terms of how that's going with China, and what do you expect moving forward as we keep a close eye on that?
There's a couple things going on, and I think the Phase 1 trade deal gets a lot of attention. I'm not honestly sure, Bryce, how much of that is China really trying to fulfill that, and how much of that is really China just saying, you know what, we like the prices where they were at. In particular, we like the basis levels because we were of concern that the basis was going to improve, meaning it was going to get less negative or more positive, and it was going to go up, and so they stepped in and started buying. But I think there's something more going on, Bryce. And what that is I think the China looks at the world and says, okay, one of our biggest concerns is we want to make sure we have enough food for our people. And that was a big concern of those going into WTO in the early 2000s. Prior to that, they kept much, much bigger supplies than they do now. It's hard to know what their supply is, but they kept much bigger supplies. I think they're actually, in addition to trying to have enough supply there to feed their people, I think they're building some bigger reserves in addition to the Phase 1 trade deal.
Interesting. Final thoughts from you as we enter this new trading week. Things you're going to be keeping an eye on as we're rounding out October. Hard to believe.
Oh, it is very much hard to believe. We're going to keep an eye. We're going to look at what the export inspections look like. Those come out here this morning, so we'll see. Because what we know is that just because we're getting stuff on the books, really it doesn't mean a whole lot until we get it shipped. So we're looking for some big soybean export numbers on the inspection side to come out. And then we'll also be looking on Thursday at the export sales to see is that demand continuing to walk forward. So that's a couple of big things we're watching this week.
All right, we appreciate the information. Jeff Peterson of Heartland Farm Partners. As a reminder, we talk about the markets all day, every day on the stations of the Rural Radio Network. You can visit our website, ruralradio.com, for a list of the local affiliates.